Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle comic review of Conan the Barbarian, issue 4. This is from April 1971, a classic Marvel comic one with a brilliant cover by Barry Windsor Smith, or Barry Smith as it says there on the cover. It's a little Barry Smith down there at the bottom, battling a spider. Now, the spider does turn up in the story in this Tower of the Elephant. They obviously decided not to put an elephant on the cover. They decided to go for the spider, which obviously probably a bigger selling point. However, also they put a woman on the cover who is not in the scene at all. There's no woman in the tower in any shape or form. So, very odd. However, Conan the Barbarian, brilliant. Now, this is in Zamora, as quite a lot. I think probably went to Zamora a few times, I'm certain. But Zamora, great name. What a great name. And he's, of course, going to a tavern. You can't beat a good old tavern. And there's lots of merriment, cutthroats and rascals of all nations, as it says there. And, well, of course, what happens? He says a few words. There's a bit of a what's name. And, of course, Conan confronts him. And, of course, confronting Conan, when obviously with a sword, is not going to end well. There's not going to be any questions. You know what's going to happen. Lights go out and he's dead. So that's a bit of a spoiler. Not much to spoil. It didn't last very long. However, Conan goes off and the artwork is great. Really moves along as he goes, whizzes through there. And he goes into this garden and he's sort of battling. What in the name of God? And he's, of course, got guards and all that sort of stuff. But they're all, for some weird reason, the guard is obviously knocked out. But we find out later because, of course, there is another character also trying to get the jewel that's key thing here. However, don't have it easy because, of course, the gardens are also guarded by silent lions and other things, of course. There's a lovely sign. But, of course, luckily, this guy has got a tube of Black Lotus, which, of course, doesn't do anyone any good. However, he doesn't last very long. Again, another spoiler. My apologies. But it's a bit weird when you introduce a character. I would have thought that this character would have lasted at least a few pages, but he doesn't last very long. He goes in, literally, he's one who's like falls out the door sort of thing, and that's it. But look at the artwork. There's a fabulous fortune here, Taurus. You got that, and just beautiful. Look at, just absolutely glorious. And I'd love Barry Windsor Smith's artwork there. And again, you've got Taurus going off there. And of course, he doesn't last very long. There he is falling through. Taurus, he collapses there into Conan's arms, except for the two wounds at the base of his neck. And of course, we get the spider, which of course is on the front cover. Slightly different looking spider, I suppose. Maybe not. Very hard to say. But still, you got the spider there. But evil intelligence. Great fangs, dripping venom. You can't beat a bit of dripping venom in this story. And, of course, he battles the spider and, of course, throws the final. Very useful. Good old treasure chest there. You can have it. Dead. That's a bit of luck. And then he meets, finally, the elephant. This is the main character in the story. It's called Tower of the Elephant. However, the elephant is not the evil character in this story. There is, of course, an evil sorcerer. And that's just great. I love the evil sorcerer characters. You can't beat that. Conan has I don't know how many evil sorcerers he has in Conan, but there's probably been about 300 or 400 of them. They seem to, maybe it's a club of evil sorcerers. However, you got this, I love this bit with Cull, sort of obviously Volusia and obviously the Atlantis, etc. And you got a little bit about obviously how they got here as well. I love the fact they faster than light, which is pretty impressive. But of course they come to Earth and then their wings fall off. That's it, the scene they say. But then our wings fell off. What a careless thing. Why not develop something that's a bit more sort of like useful? But suddenly wings fall off. However, of course, Conan helps him. And I'm not going to say what happens. But of course, it all ends badly for the sorcerer, of course. Against Conan, who else? But some really great scenes. I love that bit. That bit is just brilliant. You've got beautiful there. Just cascade of lights. It's a rainbow flaring, iridescent gleams, and Conan's great hands are empty. Bare. Wonder why he put empty and then he puts bare afterwards. I think that's probably the same thing, isn't it? However, you've also got, of course, one thing I didn't go through, the checklist at the front. I love the checklist. There's always a good old checklist. And 2. Now, this month was not the world's greatest month, I think, personally. Because there's actually a lot of reprints. When I was looking through this list thinking, there's a few decent ones. Quite a lot of ones that are pretty duff. Well, you got Iron Man versus Ramrod and Submariner, sort of Daredevil versus El Condor and Spidey versus the terrorist. I mean, that does seem a bit lacking in sort of energy and enthusiasm, I think, personally. But and also loads of reprints. You've got Where Creatures Roam, Nick Fury, lots of these, Ringo Kid. Many of them were by this point definitely Mighty Marvel Western reprint issues. Yeah, very good reprint issues, but still reprints. And of course, you got this. You got the Stan's soapbox at the back, and also, of course, the Marvel bullpen bulletins, which is always good. And also the Hyborian page at the back. I love these ones. These are always great. Now, this is not included in the omnibus edition. This is included. Wish they'd include both, to be honest, as well as the checklists. That would be brilliant. But I always love reading the old letters as well. They're always great. This one is absolutely brilliant. And of course, if you want to read it in this, you can obviously get a copy of this quite easily. Certain copies are still around. My one was about 50p or something, very cheap. But you can also, of course, read it in there. And there's also the Epic collections as well. Marvel bringing out Epic collections. So that's another great place to pick up the story. But you've got here Conan. Now, this is, I'm, of course, not going to be able to find it straight away. Always the way. Conan 1. Let's just quickly see. Oh, there it is. Conan 4. So you've got the story there. Now, this one in the omnibus is slightly bigger than the comic. Slightly bigger, not much. It's a little bit. And you've got Tower of the Elephant there. Now, a lot of people don't like the colouring, the modern sort of cleaned up. But personally, I have no problem with it. I think this book is probably one of the best. I love this omnibus edition. It's absolute full of superb artwork all the way through. But again, sometimes people like the original style. It's a pity they don't do that, but that's what they do. But look at that beautiful artwork there. Just absolutely glorious. Love all those sort of designs there. Absolutely glorious. And actually another thing, of course, great about these omnibus editions is, and I probably won't find one that's related to that, unless that one is. No, that isn't. But you've got, of course, all the bonus material at the back, which makes it even more special, which I think is just great. But you've got, and this volume has got lots and lots of, is that one? Yes, that's definitely that. Oh, no, that was similar sort of style. You can see that, like I've seen that design there. Obviously using that sort of light cascading of design, sort of gleaming doors and things. Very, very that period. Absolutely brilliant, though, this volume. And likewise, this. Thoroughly enjoyable. And, well, totally recommend it. I say, worth checking out in this form, or, of course, in Epic or the omnibus editions. Hope you found this of interest. Thank you much.